This is the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 8. I'm starting at verse 7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." Verse 8. I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh, by Hashem, that's what I thought. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim, across the four corners of the earth, touching this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so, not more so than ever. Shalom to the Akbar and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners that are abroad, to the land of other nations, which appear like the other nations, to subscribe to its truth. To you, I say Shalom. This is the brother Yahweh out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh and Yahweh. And basically, this is a lesson on the article I saw yesterday at camp, and just showing you the times we in. The Lord Yahweh is plaguing this place like he plagued ancient Egypt. Can't tell you a date because no man knows the date and the time of the end except for, our Father, Abba Nawa, our Father, Yahweh. So, not even our big brother, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, knows the day, but he's patiently waiting, So I came across this article, and Lord willingly, it's edifying. This says, USA Today, more than 1,000 rodents found in Family Dollar facility lead to recall of items sold in 6 states. And it was through the Spirit because I meant to do a video on this, but after camp I came in and fell asleep and whatnot, and I woke up and my youngest daughter was awake, so we sitting up there watching. I keep it on like this. In Cleveland, we got a channel called WVIZ, and it's nothing but a kids channel, and it doesn't really show like Cartoon Network cartoons. It shows more so like the old, like basically a lot of the cartoons that aren't, cartoons that aren't mainstream. Put it like that. Educational more so cartoon. It's not all that indoctrination. Not to confuse, because Sesame Street has indoctrination in it. You gotta understand, this is truly hell on earth. There's no way for you to escape Esau's witchcraft. You get to watching. Why do you think Sesame Street incorporates famous people in it? Shit, why do you think Sesame Street's talking about the Great Reset? But nonetheless, not to digress, we were watching the cartoon, and they would get to talking to these children, like, as far as like in breaks of the program, because it's a kids network. They basically visited the school and had the kids draw a picture of themselves, and then the image of the kids, like they drew a picture of themselves, and then when you opened up the paper, it showed their inside fear. So they was told to draw a picture of what they feared. And a lot of kids drew different fears. Some was swimming, some was the dark, I think, lightning, but one child wrote down rats, and then another child wrote down rats, and then finally it was like 7, 8 children that always talking about rats. So I was like, that's the spirit. Yahweh Shem Yahshua, I want this video to come out. And if you look at this with a spiritual eyes, literally the Lord plaguing this place. Again, ancient Egypt was hit with plagues, and this place is going to be hit with plagues as well. It's not, that saying, history repeats itself, is a true saying, because you got the people that been before coming back to do the same things they did before. That's why it seems like history repeating itself, but it's not. It's just the people doing the same things because you're programmed. If you were set up to be righteous, you're going to be a righteous individual. That's why they talk about the lot of the prophets. If you was a prophet in the past, you're coming back as a prophet. And if you was a wicked 2/3 that nigga, you're coming back to be a 2/3. If you was like somebody like Prince or Michael Jackson, that's God-given talent. So they had to be musicians in their past lives as well. Because music, everybody can't get music. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I wanted to learn to play music. You know, I wanted to play the trumpet, and not understanding that that takes time and discipline. That's why you got to commend a parent that actually instills that in a child. But again, like, not to digress, because this, let's stay on focus on topic. So it says more than a thousand rodents or rats found in Family Dollar facility leads to recall of items sold in 6 states. And you got to understand, rats bring disease. You know, I was just checking out the Black Death when you go into the Byzantine Empire and how the Byzantine Empire actually came falling down or came crashing down. You know, a lot of people are not familiar with that the Holy Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire are all the same. And that's what, when Jake was in power, you know, they call it the Dark Ages. A play on words. What is that smell? It's a lot of spiritual smells in here. Anyhow, it must be that food though. So like it says West Memphis, Arkansas. More than 1,000 rodents were found inside a Family Dollar distribution facility in Arkansas, and that's not the actual store. That's the distribution center, meaning where they house all the products that they send to other Family Dollars. Arkansas. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced Friday as the chain issued a voluntary recall affecting items purchased from hundreds of stores in the South. And like I said, when you go into rats carry disease. You know, the rat is a very filthy ass animal. You know what I mean? And a dangerous one at that. You know, because they can creep through things that you wouldn't think they would be able to get through because they'd have no, like, the way that their bones are made, their spine, it can like retract, and you know, it's weird. That's why they can go up under doors and shit like that. And then, like I say, their bite is so sharp, you know, you won't even know you bit. That's why there's such a danger and a terror to like people that have children and whatnot. You know, in New York, they was talking about how big the rats is. The rats are monstrous. You know, talking about the size of little poodles. Can you imagine that? It says a consumer complaint prompted officials to inspect the West Memphis, Arkansas facility in January. The FDA said in a news release. Inside the building, inspectors said they found live rodents, dead rodents in various states of decay, rodent feces, dead birds, and bird droppings. Damn. After fumigating the facility, more than 1,100 dead rodents were recovered, officials said. No one should be subjected to products stored in the kind of unacceptable condition that we found in the Family Dollar distribution facility. That place, Family Dollar is supposed to be, that place is supposed to be shut down, said Associate Commissioner for Regulatory Affairs Judith Minkin. And he saw his hypocrisy, you know, when you go into the fact that literally, you know, like when you go into the FDA actually passes the legislation and the regulation to actually, like, if you have a certain facility that houses food, they allow a certain amount of rat droppings to be in the food. If you wasn't aware of that, you know, the FDA is the one that controls to say what is actually food. You know, Bill Gates is pushing this plant-based diet food that they done created in a lab. Why do you think they doing that? Why do you think they're doing that? You really think Bill Gates is going to be eating plant-based Impossible Burgers? It's a movie called Snowpiercer. And for brothers have seen that movie. Brothers that haven't, you should go check it out. But for those that haven't, you know, that's your future. You had the elite that were on the front of the train, and the peasants was kept for whatever reason. You know, for food, for work. You know, and then it's the end of the world, yet still those in the front of the train partying like it's 1999. While those in the back are subjected to, like, they wasn't eating. And when I think they was like, they food was actually like each other. Right, it was. Because the one guy from Captain America, literally, he went into how he was like the best meat or human meat to eat was the babies. Salakia, it says, the FDA said it is working with Family Dollar to begin a voluntary recall of the affected product. Voluntary recall. Now, mind you, you know, this rodent feces if it's on products, you know how sickly that can make you. Like I said, a rat is a very filthy creature. It's a plague though, nonetheless. So I'm not even gonna read any more of this. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. Because basically, it's just showing you the decay of this place, and the state this place is in. This place is going down. But the Lord speaks through plagues. You know, the Lord is always speaking. People don't, you know, often hear it if you're not a spiritual man because, you know, you carnally, most people are carnal. But, you know, the Lord is always speaking. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. I'm going to start at verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Verse 19, behold, tribulation and anguish are sin and scourges for a minute. So let's go into the word scourges. For those that are not familiar, a scourge, a whip used as an instrument of punishment, a personal thing that causes great trouble or suffering. So when you go into the scripture again, it says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So it's sent as punishment for amendment, and amendment is to change. So the people are going off. The Lord sends scourges, these plagues, these famines, this punishment to make the people correct themselves and stop sinning. But verse 20, but for all these things that shall not turn, Salakia, verse 20, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, Salaki, or always be mindful of the scourges. So it's a scripture that talks about in the time of prosperity, people forget trouble. In the time of trouble, people forget prosperity, roughly paraphrased. So, you know, everybody's recalls, or a lot of brothers recall when you had the lockdown, you had people worried and then, you know, trying to ask for answers and call themselves putting up the facade of getting right or whatnot. But then as soon as they opened this shit back up, what did people do? They went back to their old ways, even more so. People went back to their pride even more so. And that's why this place is going to be plagued. And these rats is a plague. You know, not only do you got that CV that's not never going away, because people really think that because they lifting restrictions. You know, Washington literally had a mandate. They was trying to enforce it. Then they just pulled it all back. You got cities and states and countries pulling this back. Now, you really think they introduced all this, locked everybody down for 2 years, and then is it going to go away? I was just watching a video a brother put in the group chat. They said that Super Bowl halftime show with Eminem and Kendrick Lamar and all them, they said it was very, very Masonic and demonic. So at the end of the day, and they said it was a part where basically you had those that didn't have the mark look like they was in prison outfits, and those that did, they looked like they was free. We are in them times, people. And the spiritual man will see it, in a nigga, he won't. This book of Exodus, chapter 9, verse 14. For I'm going to start at verse 13. The Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say unto him, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, power of the Hebrews, let my people go that they may serve me. So basically, this is going into the account when Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua sent Moses and Aaron to basically let the Pharaoh know to let him go. Now, the Most High God controls the minds and hearts of men. Because when you go into the Hebrew word for mind, it's la'ab, meaning salakia. You go into the Hebrew word for heart, it means la'ab, meaning mind. So it's the Most High that controls your thoughts and put those thoughts in there. So it's cold when you understand the power of the Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because the Most High put the spirit on Pharaoh to literally buck up and to be strong-willed, and to, you know, he wouldn't let him go. Remember, he let him go at first, and then the Lord put the spirit on him to make him try and chase him back. That's how they got up. That's why they was on the, you know, they was walking. The Pharaoh let him go, and then he wouldn't let him go because the Most High hardened the Pharaoh's heart. all to break all to break Pharaoh, to show his power in the earth. And, the second Exodus is going to be greater than the first. That's why it's important of the remembrance of Passover. If anybody want to know, that's our first major holiday because that's the Salakia, not holiday, high holy day. Because holidays are mimicry and like basically like the counter. It talks about in the scriptures the devil turning of things upside down. They mirror everything. Like that's why Satanists mirror everything that the Bible does. They do everything upside down. That's why they'll take the cross and put it upside down. If you wasn't aware, Peter actually was hanged upside down, but it wasn't. I remember when I first heard that, and I thought it was some satanic shit, but in actuality, from what the account, because you got to go in history to go find it, but basically the account said that Peter basically didn't want to be put or compared to the Lord. He knew he was lower than the Lord, so he said, basically, crucify him upside down, which had to be extremely painful if you understand it, and that's faith. Because you got to understand, when you hang it upside down, all the blood rushes to your head. So it says, verse 14, for I will at this time send all my plagues upon thine heart and upon thy servants and upon thy people, and that thou mayest know that there is none like me that there is none like me in all the earth. And like I said again, you seeing these plagues, you seeing the CV-19 with these different variants that's not going away. You seeing these weather patterns. Brother was just talking about that. What was that? I want to say, I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, but Wednesday, I think it was 50 degrees. I think Tuesday was like 52, Wednesday was like 50, and then Thursday, it's 15 degrees now in Cleveland. All-Star weekend too. Call Lord, you like y'all, but you shot. So yeah, the Lord is working the work. It tells you that in the book of Psalms 119 and 126, because thou hast made void thy law. So the Lord working, and that's a sign. Like I said, that's a spiritual sign with them rodents. That's another basic testament to the decline of this place. It's the book of Luke. It talks about at the end times, the signs will be plagues. Luke 21. This is the Luke chapter 21, verse, let me get to the point, verse 11. And great earthquakes shall be divers places. I'm going to read up. I'm going to first start at verse 7. Luke 21:7. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these be? And what signs will there be when these things shall come to pass? And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. So, the famines and pestilences. So that's another sign of the times we're in. Book of Revelation, chapter 16. We'll start at verse 1. Yeah, because this going into, it's like I'm going to be honest, I forgot the, I know this, I think this goes into that grievous sword, God, for taking that mark. But then it goes into the three foul spirits. I forgot the breakdown of that, Salakia. I brought this out because I thought it went into plagues. Yeah, it does. And men were scorched with great heat and the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which had power over these plagues. And they repented not to give him glory. Because at the end of the day, you got some people that's going to have a spirit on them, a reprobate spirit, where they're not going to come back to the Most High God. And that's why Scripture says what it says. What's that, Revelation 22, verse 11? It says, he that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he which is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is holy, let him be holy still. Revelation 22 and verse 12, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. And the elders went into that breakdown because it's deep, when Yahweh Shai was the Alpha because he's the first created creation of the Most High, and he's the last. He's the first one to sin and go off, and only by him correcting it and getting it right is the end. So it took. That's how important Yahweh Shai Mashiach is, and it's deep. But yeah, it's many a plagues. It's gonna be these different signs and plagues are manifesting on a daily, and it's time for people to get their houses in order spiritually, because the closer we get to the end, it's not gonna get better; it's gonna get harder, and actually the state of this place is gonna get worse. So people in that Donald Trump spirit or Make America Great spirit or that, and they showing you blatantly in your face, like these Edomites do not give a fuck, like they letting it be known. You got people struggling right now. They don't care. Joe Biden had the audacity to actually say like $1,200 was a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like that ain't no fucking money. You got a lot of people that's in a situation that literally, because they took them advances on the taxes, they gonna end up owing. Because like I said, a big part of why people get tax refunds is because of the child tax credits. If you owe, or if you depending on your income, depends on how much more you owe. But shit, them taxes could be a plague. But nonetheless, I'm gonna end it there because again, for those that are unjust, let them be unjust, and those that be righteous, let them be righteous. Because, as a matter of fact, I'm going to end with this, because in the book of Jeremiah, it talks about judgment. It says, this is Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 2, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, such as are for death to death, and such are Salakia, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. And that's the spirit, because the brother put in the group chat a video about judgment, and you had I forgot what country it was. It wasn't America, but they had a man, basically, and they had pit bulls. They had these dogs biting him, but they had one dog, it was a pit, biting his testicles. And he was in so much pain, you could clearly see it, he couldn't even cry out. But the Lord still had his spirit in it. You could literally see he still was alive. That's a horrible judgment, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, judgment coming, and those that are meant to be judged, because that's what that recompense in Revelation 22 is talking about, because reward is just a payment. And you could be paid righteously or get a good reward, or you can get a terrible reward, you know what I mean? So for those that are just, let them be just, and those that are righteous, let them be righteous, because you're going to get judged. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rachakodas B'Katam. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders, great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the 4 corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to his truth. To you I say shalom. Until next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Shalom.